By the way, if you have any trouble with a slow screen, because we do have a lot of people here, we're close to 60 people now. So if you have any trouble with a freezing screen or a slow screen, just shut off your video. That will help. If I start to freeze on you, shut off your video. That will help because we've got a lot of people sharing this. I'm not doing any video today, so we don't have a lot going on. Are we recording, Liz? Yep, looks like we're recording. Hey, everybody. Good to see you. So this is a part of what I taught to my clients I have a client appreciation event every single year. So in November, before we shut down here again in Western Pennsylvania, we had an in-person client appreciation event. And so this is one part of that workshop that I taught. And this is what I had on the screen. I love this quote. Isn't it so important? And you're here today, surrounded by people who will mention your name in a room full of opportunities. And that's one thing that I'm so glad to have created in my career and in my life, is a supportive circle of professionals who will help one another. We're not here in competition. So make this your mantra or one of your mantras for 2021. Make sure that you're spending time with quality people and with those who will mention your name in a room full of opportunities. So important. So this is my December masterclass. I'm Beth Caldwell. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So before COVID-19, I traveled all over the country speaking. I'm an author and a professional speaker and a life and business coach. And so before COVID-19, I was out in the community every single month giving a talk to somebody or some organization. And so now, for the time being, I'm offering a masterclass virtually every month. And this is the December masterclass. And what we are talking about today, I think it's a perfect time for this, is creating or improving your communication plan for your business. Some of you may already have a communication plan. So that's what we're talking about today. And I have, let me tell you a little bit about myself. So you know who's teaching this. You know, before I became a full-time speaker and writer, I owned a public relations business, which was in Green Tree, Pennsylvania, here in my hometown of Pittsburgh. In 2009, I wrote my first book, and about 2012, I decided to stop doing public relations as a full-time job because I was on the road at that time with my third book. I remember I was in Baltimore giving a talk, and all of my clients were texting me, and I was trying to sell books. I was selling books. I was trying to get books up onto the counter, and my clients are texting me, hey, I have a TV interview. I have this, I have that. And I was like, I can't do all this. So this book right here in the middle, the Publicity Action Plan Workbook, I wrote that, I think, in 2014 as a way to sort of separate myself from my clients so I could become a full-time writer and speaker. And that's what I am today. I do writing, speaking, and coaching. And my last two books are here, From Frantic to Focused, and Women Lead just came out. So proud of that book. This year, 2020, came out on March the 6th. I'm also the founder of Leadership Academy for Women. You can find my blog on my website, but I'm also a blogger for Thrive Global, something I really enjoy doing. Can you tell I'm a writer? Oh, there's some pictures up there on the top. I was very, very lucky, blessed to spend 4 years on the road with Steve Harvey. He had something at the time from 2014 to 2018 called the Act Like a Success Institute. And I was able to travel around and work with him and a small group of people. So he was a great mentor. And I was able to meet him because I took a very big risk in 2012. And I went to Washington, D.C. to speak at a conference. I got a lot of criticism, by the way, for that. So, you know, if you're making big changes in your life or business, I got invited to speak at this conference where Susie Orman was speaking, and I was invited to open for her. Now, I wasn't their first choice. Their first choice canceled at the last minute. And so at the last minute, somebody who knew me to be very dependable and reliable and a great and engaging speaker said, hey, can you come to Washington, D.C.? And I did. I dropped everything and went to Washington, D.C. And I got a lot of criticism for that. Sometime I'll do another talk. I teach my Leadership Academy a talk about criticism and how I've overcome it. But I'll tell you something, guys. I drove to Washington, D.C. 4 hours my energy was, I was crying for a lot of the time to Washington, D.C. because of some of the hateful things that people here in my hometown said about me for doing it. And even my own accountant called me and tried to talk me out of going. You know, when you're when you're making changes and you're growing big in your business, it will make people around you uncomfortable. I might have known that at the time, but I wasn't definitely seeing it at the time. And as I was driving to that, just thinking about the things that people said to me and about me. And my accountant said, I just don't think this is a good investment of your time. I mean, you're taking off 3 days of work, you're spending money in a hotel, you're not seeing your clients. I just don't think it's a good idea. And so even from somebody that you pay for their advice, I had gotten advice not to do it. But as soon as I got around in the energy of a group of about 1,000 people who were all really positive, my energy picked up again. I gave a kick-ass talk. I got to meet Susie Orman. I got some mentoring from her. And then because of that talk, somebody sitting in the audience worked for Steve Harvey, and they said, hey, you have to meet this woman. And then look what happened. So if you're thinking about taking risks, listen to the positive people in your life, because it can really lead to amazing things and really lead to what you're meant to do. Okay, so I want to tell you a little bit about today's agenda. First of all, we have nothing for sale here today. I'm going to give you about a 45-minute presentation, plus a little chit chat. As you see, I can get off on stories from time to time, so it might take a little longer. At the end of the presentation, we'll talk, I'm going to stop the recording. And at that time, we can talk about the ideas that you've had, any questions you have, and I'll be doing coaching. So we'll wait for your questions until the recording is stopped. That way your information will be kept private from the people who watch the recording later. And mark your calendars now. My next workshop is one of my most popular, January 28th. I'm teaching Make Your Brand Statement. I've given that talk a lot of times, but I realized I don't have it recorded. So we're going to do that one in January. And oh, I have a February. I didn't put the February on there. February is going to be, I think it's at the end of this talk. I'll put it up there. Breaking out of the imposter syndrome. That's a brand new talk that I'm just now writing, and I'll be giving that in February. So again, there's nothing for sale today, but I am a life and business coach. And if you're interested in coaching with me for help in creating your own communication plan, because I owned a public relations firm, it is definitely my specialty. You can always find me at coachbethcaldwell.com. So here's a warning for you. I'm going to be teaching you some things today. When you streamline your systems, when you automate your tasks, when you offer consistent messaging to your ideal clients, when you have a polished brand, and when you increase your visibility, this kind of thing can create business growth that can attract new clients, can allow you to increase your prices, fill your practice, and feel proud of your accomplishments. So hang on and buckle up, because we're going to make some changes. Okay, computer's stuck. There we go. So before I get into the communication plan, I want to talk to you about what is client attraction, because I'm not just teaching you today how to create a communication plan. I'm teaching you how to create a communication plan that will attract your ideal clients. So if you've been following me for a while, I think in August of this year, maybe September, I taught a workshop on client attraction. So I pulled this from that slide. And when you're marketing yourself, there are two ways to market yourself. There's push marketing and pull marketing. So push marketing is something that you generally see from large manufacturing companies. A lot of the financial field will use push marketing, and that's basically paid advertising. See if this will work for me. So push marketing, that's when you're pushing yourself out there, when you're constantly blasting what you do and what you serve. Nothing wrong with it. It's one way of marketing. And then there's pull marketing. Pull marketing is what I have the image up there of the magnets. That's when you offer helpful content and you attract people to you. That is the type of marketing that I use, and that's what I teach, and that's what I offer to my clients. Nothing wrong with the push marketing, but I prefer to use the pull marketing method. Okay, some people don't like that. The pull marketing method offers free things like a webcast today. blog post. I have a list of it. Generally, if you are like me, like I was when I started my business and had zero budget for advertising, client attraction, pull marketing makes a lot of sense for you. If you really don't have time or don't enjoy doing the work, then push marketing makes sense for you. That's going to cost you a bit of money up front. That's going to include a lot of advertising. Okay. So push marketing would maybe be a billboard, TV commercial, Google ads. Pull marketing would be blog post, webcast, podcast. I have a list. Today's focus though is pull marketing. It's just a little softer. And it's the way that I like to, that's the way that I like to come across to my clients. Here's something that you might like. Here's something that you may enjoy. Here's something that's helpful. Would you like some more? Come on over, join my group. That's what pull marketing is. And that's what we'll be focusing on today. I think I have a list, but it might be on the next one. I have a list of ideas of pull marketing. So here's some things that I like you to know when we think about what you're going to do to market yourself in the next year. Did you know that most people check their email before they get out of bed? Isn't that interesting? Some other facts for you. 50% of American households, this was as of 2019, listen to 7 podcasts on the average each week. If you have a blog post, it can increase your website visitors by 400%. And I get these statistics from the American Marketing Association, where I am a member. And 59% of executives say that they would rather, let's move this up a little bit. I have all of your faces here, so I can't see my slides. Let me move them. 59% of executives say they would rather watch a video than read text. Isn't that interesting? See, this is really good to know when you're making your plan, okay? So when we think about how you might market your business, here are some ideas. I always teach my clients to pick 3 ways to market their business, unless you have a full-time team that can do the work for you. If you're doing it yourself, pick 3 ways. Here are some of the most popular. Email newsletter, social media posting. This is what I see a lot of people doing. This is what some of my clients and I do. Webcasts, such as this one. Tutorials, like video tutorials or even audio tutorials. I do a lot of media interviews myself as a way to position myself. Podcasting, guest speaking, guest blogging. When we're not in a pandemic, in-person workshops, virtual presentations like this for yourself or for someone else, writing articles, print newsletters, I bet is something that you probably wouldn't think would work, but depending on the business, that can work really, really well. And something that most people don't validate is your professional colleague referrals. Sometimes your best clients will come from being referred by a colleague. So if you can pause a moment and take a look at this or something else, what would you like to do? One thing that you'd like to get started on in January to get growing with your business. And if you already know, put it in the chat, especially if you want some help from me, put it in the chat. So let me check the chat here and see what people are saying. Jody wants to do guest speaking. Oh my gosh, you guys are going too fast. Hold on a second. I'm going to get my glasses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let all of you post a little bit and go back. And then, and I want to try to give you some examples today that reach everybody. Kristen says, COVID ruins everything. You know what, though? We've had some pretty interesting opportunities, haven't we, Kristen? So Catherine wants to do work. So we have workshops, guest speaking. A lot of people want to do guest speaking. Coral, hi, Coral. Nice to see you in here. Coral, tell me what kind of business you have. Looks like we're very split. I should have done this as like a, I should have done this as one of those polls so we could have like seen. We'll have to do that next time, Liz.
Hi, Beth. I know you for years and years from WBN, but I'm a realtor. However, I am now doing real estate photography for realtors.
Excellent.
And so the social media posts have value. The newsletter has value. Something that the agents can then use with their clients to prepare the home for the shoot. A video, drone, all that.
Okay, great. Well, it's good to see you, Coral.
You too.
I actually never belonged to WBN, but I know you from Jockey.
Oh, I thought it was
how we know each other.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we have a really big variety. So I'm going to try to give you guys a little bit. I do see a lot of email newsletter and blogging. For a lot of people, those are great ways to start. Okay. So hold on. And Kristen's saying she'd love to do in-person workshops. So Kristen, here's my suggestion to you. Do some video workshops to begin with. You know, I would love to do some retreats. I love to take people on retreats. I would love to do that, but we're not going to be doing that right now. But what you could do is you could plan them, get them ready. You could do them. And I think, Kristen, I think you live in Oakmont and they have the, if that's true, they have the Oakmont Public Library, which is an awesome place. I had a couple of my clients do workshops there when they started their business. But for now, look, we have 66 people on here today. So it's definitely something that you can do. Diane Pearson, you want to build an engaging private Facebook page. We'll talk about that personally, Diane, because I don't know. Do you think your clients are on Facebook? I'm curious about that. We can have a conversation about that. Let's see here. So a lot of people want to do, I think I see more blogging than anything else and some guest speaking. Maria is on here. Hi, Maria is here from Florida. She is a doctor who coaches women, and Maria has a virtual summit coming up in February that I'm going to be a guest speaker on. So this is great. I'm going to print this out after today's workshop and read it carefully. So, okay. So step one, let's get to your work. Step number one. Decide what you want to do first. You can do all of it. You can do for those of you who want to do blogging and podcasting and email newsletter and webcast and in person, you can do it all. I do all of that. Okay. But you got to start with one thing. So let's start with the very first thing, how you're going to communicate and how often you're going to communicate. Okay. Is Ashley on? I was texting with Ashley a little earlier today. Life coach. Ashley Marie, are you here?
I am here.
There she is. Hi. Oh, it's A. Marie. I didn't see you. I was looking for Ashley. Okay, cool. So Ashley, you're a life coach and you're just, I mean, I know you've been in business for a while, but you're starting your marketing plan, right?
Correct.
And so how do you think you want to, tell us first, who do you work with?
I work alone and I coach women who have just gotten out of like toxic relationships and try to help them move forward.
Okay. And so you're a life coach that helps women who've just come out of toxic relationships. Recovery.
Yes.
Recovery now. Okay. And so what do you think you'd like to do first?
I think I picked first social media posts or blogs.
I would highly recommend for you, Ashley, a blog. And for most of you.
A blog?
Because here's what you can do with the blog. You start out with the blog and then it can be turned into a social media post.
Okay.
And then that social media post would bring them back to your blog, but one thing at a time. It takes a little time to set this up. All right. And by the way, Diane Pearson, that's what I would recommend for you too, is a blog. Remember we said earlier today, I think it was 400% more likely for people to stay on your website. So a lot of people want to start on social media, but here's what I like to do with social media and my clients. I don't think you have this, Ashley, on your website, but you know, a lot of times I'll get to somebody's website and right there in the top right, it'll say, you know, follow me on Facebook or here's my Instagram feed. And you're like, I don't want them going from your website over to Instagram. We'll never get them back. Right? Or worse, YouTube. Like we'll never get them back. I want them coming from Facebook and YouTube and Instagram to your site.
Okay.
That's what I want to do. So I would highly recommend you start with a blog. So we're just going to use Ashley as an example for this one. Number one, decide how you're going to communicate and how often. So we're going to begin with a blog. It's not the only thing you're going to do, but we're going to begin with a blog. And how often is it realistic for you to blog?
Realistically, I could probably blog at least once a week.
That's fantastic. I recommend once a month for most of my folks. So once a week is fantastic. And I'm going to talk to you later about blocking, not blogging, but blocking your time to blog. That's kind of a tongue twister. So here's your first assignment for Ashley and anybody else that wants to blog or do an email newsletter. I want you to start with 12 topics. And how you're going to get those topics is, what are the questions that you're answering all the time? Claire Shookman, you're here. We talked about this years ago, right? You're probably nodding your head. What are the questions that you're answering all the time? Or what are the common problems that you solve? The really easy, the low-hanging fruit. It is pretty easy to write down 12 problems that you solve because you are really specific, Ashley. Toxic relationships. There's certain things, like one thing that I know that comes out of a toxic relationship is stalking on Facebook, like stalking your ex on Facebook, stalking your ex's mother, your ex's sister, your ex's new girlfriend, whatever. That kind of a blog could not only go really well on your website, but that kind of a blog could go really well on other websites as well. How to stop stalking your ex. Who would read that? Even if you're not even in a recent breakup, that's kind of juicy, right? So I want you to start with 12. Then when you have those 12, you either have the next 3 months of blog titles or you have a year of blog titles, depending on how often you want to do that, okay? Now here's the tip. This needs to be in the form that your ideal clients enjoy. So I have some people on here that don't like blogs and they don't like email newsletters. But this isn't about you, because we're not marketing to you, we're marketing to your ideal clients. So you want to think about what kind of content do your ideal clients like to consume. All right. So that's a super big tip. Number one, how you're going to communicate and how often. Okay. Now you might, some of you have already made your decision. If you have a major decision, come back and watch the recording. Don't get stuck here. Okay. We're going to move on to step 2 so I can give you all the content today. You can come back here and you can do this over and over again with any type of marketing that you want to do. Okay. Step number 2, this is pretty simple. You've got to schedule the time to do this. I'm going to show you an example of what can happen if you don't, but you know as well as I do, if you do not block the time in your calendar, it is going to be December 2021 and you are not going to have blogs. Am I right? Or you're going to have blogged once. So schedule the time and or schedule your help. If you know that you need help to do this, hire your help now or arrange for your help now and just begin from the beginning with your helper. That's the best thing that you could do. And so here's what I do. So some of you are new to me. Some of you don't know me at all. I do a video every single Monday morning called Monday Morning Mastermind. And I typically record that video. And when I started, I would do it on Thursday or Friday afternoon because I see clients usually on Thursday all day. Hair and makeup is done. Most of my Monday Morning Mastermind videos are content that I get inspired from my clients. It's problems that I'm solving for them. So that's what I do. So Thursday, it gets filmed. And then Sunday, I arrange for the posts. If I didn't schedule that, it would be like, oh my gosh, I've just missed 3 Mondays in a row. Okay. Now I've been doing the Monday Morning Mastermind for 1.5 years. So that's evolved a little bit. And now what we do is about every 2 months, I have my video technician, Courtney, comes here and we tape a bunch of them at once. Okay. So after I got a system, I was able to delegate it and outsource it. Then I started an email newsletter because I don't have time to do a video and an email newsletter at the same time. I just don't have that time in my calendar. So now Courtney is doing the video. Now I have blocked in my calendar. It's the only other thing I have scheduled today. Every Wednesday afternoon from 3 to 5, it is blocked in my calendar. Focus Friday newsletter. How many of you get the Focus Friday? I hope some of you are reading the Focus Friday. If not, you're going to start getting it because you signed up for this workshop. So look for it, not this Friday because it's a holiday, but you'll start getting it next Friday. So the Focus Friday newsletter is something that I started my second year. Okay. And so here's the story of my life. I'm in a relationship, a long-term relationship with my significant other, Paul. And every Wednesday afternoon, he picks up his granddaughter after school and takes her out, and they do like a little dinner thing. Okay. So I don't have to do dinner on Wednesday night. So I'm done with clients about 3 o'clock. So from 3 to 5, that is my blocked time to write my newsletter. That way I know that I get it done. Here's the thing. You guys know that life happens, right? So if a client has a media interview on Thursday and I wind up helping them on Wednesday instead, I still have all day Thursday and Friday morning to do that newsletter. Now, ideally, I'd like to write these newsletters 2 or 3 weeks in advance, but I've only been doing the Focus Friday since July, so I haven't gotten there yet. But so far, I have not missed a Friday because I block the time on Wednesday. I use my electronic calendar and I block it. Don't always write it on Wednesday. Sometimes I move it to Thursday. Once I moved it to Friday, which was very stressful, but I really do try to get that done. So schedule time or help and be realistic. Did you notice that I didn't say I schedule 15 minutes on Wednesday? Because I'm a time optimist, right? I'm the type of person that thinks, one time I got to the airport in 20 minutes. So I can always get to the airport in 20 minutes, right? I'm that kind of a person, but I know this stuff for me, it takes me a while to get started. So this is not a 30-minute commitment. Block yourself 2 hours to get this done, okay? Look, if you get done in an hour, do another one. Be 1 week ahead, right? And a lot of times I say, once you get into the routine, especially if you're doing writing. So I'm a writer, I love to write. But if you don't really like to write that much, it can be something you really dread and you really put off. So if it takes you a while to get started, I like you to block a whole afternoon twice a year and write 6. Like do 6 at one time. But I wouldn't say that you start out doing that way because you need to know what your audience likes. You need to know like how to get that thing going. So for the beginning, write 1 or 2, then you've got to go put it in your newsletter and get it out and get your address list organized and all that kind of thing. So in the beginning, do 1 or 2 at a time. But as you get good at this, you can do 6 or 7 and guess what happens? Next year, like maybe you really want to put out 1 blog a week, Ashley, but you wind up getting 5, 6 clients, right? Then you don't have time. So let's say you do 1 a month. So you do 12, then next year you do 12 more. Guess what? You now have 24 blogs. So you see,
yeah, I think I will start with once a month so I don't like overwhelm myself with trying to make sure I have enough content.
exactly.
But how long should the post be, like as far as length?
So 500 words or less. 500 words or less. And you know what, since you were volunteering today, I have a gift for you. Hey, Liz, will you send Ashley, she's in here as A. Marie, would you send her a message? And Ashley, will you send Liz privately your address? So you're going to get this giveaway. This is what I gave to my clients at our client appreciation. It's my recommended resources for success. It's 50 some pages. And in here, I have how to write a blog post. And I also have places you can guest blog. Okay, this is a gift that I give to my clients. So we're going to send we're going to send this to Ashley. About 500 words, good picture, and you'll get the content. Okay.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm going to sneeze, I think. All right. Step number 2, schedule time and or help. Block that into your calendar and block it consistently. Have it on repeat. Use the repeat button on your calendar. All right. Step number 3, when you can, create your content in batches. So here's back when I had my public relations business and I had about maybe 14 clients at a time. I might be sitting here working with Ashley talking about life coaching, right? But then I would be doing some research for her and I would come up with this beautiful image of real estate photography. And I'd be like, oh, I have to give this to Coral. This is why I started charging a flat fee to my clients, because how do you charge for a thought? Like really, like I couldn't do that, right? So I would have a list on my computer for each client. So I'd have Ashley and Coral and Michelle and Melanie and John, and every one of them would have like an idea list. So I would hurry up and take whatever that website that I found that I came across for Coral, and I would put it on her list. Okay. I also worked with a travel agent back then. So I'd be doing some travel research, and I would always be finding ideas for my other clients. So when it was time for me to sit down and write a blog, I could open that folder and I would have 15 or 20 ideas. So then I could pick, because I'm one of those people, I don't like very restrictive and rigid schedules. And I don't like to be told you're going to do this from this time. So if I could look at that list and I could see 11 ideas or even 3 ideas, I could pick one. This is the one I want to work on today. And I also recommend you do this with your photos. And Christy Mallory's here. We do this all the time with Christy Mallory. She does blogging and speaking and lots of things, webinars to grow her business. But we'll be shopping for photos because we use stock photography all the time. And we'll shop and we'll get all of the photos for her blog at one time. Because it's really hard to write a blog and think of a title for a blog and think of an offer for a blog and get a photo for a blog at the same time. So at one time, get all your photos and put them in one place and save them. So batch as much as you can, because our brains, it's hard for our brains to be creative and at the same time analytical. So it's hard for us to write and edit at the same time. It's hard for us to write and edit and look for a photo at the same time. It's hard for us to think of titles. So think of all your titles at one time. Maybe get your photos at one time and then do your content at one time. And posting, totally separate thing, okay? When I wrote my last book, that's the way all of my books, that's the way I did it. I would write it one day. I would write one chapter one day, edit the next day, write, edit, get all that done. Photos were all by themselves. Marketing was all separate. It's so hard to mix that stuff up. Your brains just aren't content to do that. So step number 3 is do batches. And remember, what did we talk about? Client attraction. We're not selling to people in this content. We're educating them. Here's how you can sell your home for more money. By using photography. You know, Paul and I have been looking for a house, Coral. We're on the 2-year plan. So he and I are both of us, our last kid graduated from college in May. Yay. Between the two of us, we have 4, right? And so, so we are now looking at selling 2 houses and moving into another one. And we're on a 2-year plan, but we're looking, I mean, who doesn't look, right? Some of these houses we look at, the photos are amazing. And we get there, we're like, is this the right place? Paul went to one literally that was on top of a cliff. We're like, what? We didn't even know it was on a hill, right? From the pictures. But how can you get more people to visit your home with great photography? Okay. That's a good blog post. That's a good media interview even. Okay. Mm-hmm. Rather than, or for Ashley, how you can stop sabotaging yourself in dating. You want to give that as a title instead of buy my coaching program. My coaching program is on sale, right? Don't you hate whenever you get those in your email, right? So remember, you're educating. You're learning so much right now. So I wanted to put that little ding in there. All right, number 4, this is an easy one. Commit to delivery. So if you're going to do a blog, now for those of you who want to do speaking, don't worry, I'm going to answer your questions too. But commit to delivery. So pick your favorite day of the month. Can't be the 1st or the 30th or the 15th because everybody does their stuff on the 1st, 15th, and 30th. But pick your favorite number, like the day you started your business or how old your child is or your birthday or the day you met the love of your life, right? So if Paul and I met on February 20th. So my favorite day is the 20th. So maybe the 20th of every month I put my blog out, okay? So you just commit, you pick that date, however you pick that date. My blog for Thrive Global, I'm going to show that to you in a moment. At first, I just blogged and then I didn't for a while. And then I finally blogged again and it was a Saturday. And I found out that Saturday is a really good day for me to write content because I'm not seeing clients. And so now my Thrive Global blog goes out the first Saturday of every month. So if you follow me on Thrive, one will be coming out this Saturday. I had to make a commitment, okay? Create and schedule your content or your to-do in advance. You don't want to say, oh my gosh, it's the 20th. What am I going to write? Right? You put it on your calendar for the 10th and you say, write my blog today. That way it's done before the 20th. You have time to edit it, proofread it, get a great photo for it, upload it, and schedule it. Okay. So step number 4 is commit to delivery. So here's what happens when you don't commit to delivery. So this is my Thrive. This is where you can find my blog on Thrive. If you go there, would you please hit the little hearts down here, because they really count those. And that means a lot. But as you can see, I have quite a few. But this was the first one right here. And I wrote this first one, I think in 2017. It's too small now for me to see because I have so many. But guess what? This one over here, I'm so embarrassed to tell you. Look, I wanted to write for Arianna Huffington. If you don't know what Thrive is owned by Arianna Huffington. Arianna Huffington created Huffington Post, and then she sold it for like $100 billion or something, right? And she started a new company called Thrive, which is designed for wellness and wholeness and holistic living and get out of the rat race, okay? Which is a lot of what I do. I teach my clients how to make full-time money working part-time and how to keep your family a priority. So Thrive is a way better match for me than Huffington Post. I wanted to write for Huffington Post ever since it came out, never got around to filling out the application. It gets sold. I'm like, I'm not going to lose that opportunity. So as soon as Thrive announced that they were taking applications for bloggers, I applied, I got accepted. That was in 2017. I wrote one blog. And it was 2 years later, I hadn't written another blog. I was so embarrassed because it was something I really wanted. But I never scheduled it and I was busy and it never happened. I was traveling around with Steve Harvey, right? So I was embarrassed. It was so embarrassed. And I can't change it. But since it's not my blog, I can't go change the date. So it will forever be a big gap between these two. But look, once I made the decision and commit, look, I've done a blog every single month and some months too. So I had to make the decision and I had to commit to it. Okay. So everybody is like, sometimes people look at me and think, oh, it's always been efficient and organized and systemized, and it hasn't. So check that out and please leave some hearts. Okay. Step number 5. Everybody skips this step. This is a really important step because it will keep you motivated. And that is track your results. So for example, if you post a blog, track how many people read it and see which titles are more popular. For me, these webcasts, track the webcasts. We've been able to see my mailing list grow by about 50 people a month. When you see that you get 50 new people on your list every month, then you're more likely to schedule your next one. But if you don't track and you don't pay attention, then you don't know. So 2 things I want to tell you that I've learned about my audience from tracking. One is that when I do a workshop on productivity, I get about 800% more signups. I've done one workshop on productivity and none of the rest of them have been on productivity. So we're like, well, maybe we should offer that topic again, right? People are really interested in that topic. You wouldn't know that if you didn't track it. And that Liz and I are working on my video page, and what I wanted to do, because it's a holiday coming up, I wasn't going to record a video. So I thought what I would do is do the most popular video for 2020. So if you go onto Facebook, on my Facebook page, you can see my videos. So I only have had a website since May, you all. I haven't had a website for a long time. So, but I've been posting my videos on Facebook. And so if you go through, you'll see, I don't know if you can see this, but I can see this. It'll say 22 views, 32 views, 49 views, 49 views, 65 views, 795 views. You're like, what? What the heck? What is that about? And it was about, it was about breaking up with my boyfriend. It was about breaking up with my boyfriend and deciding I was never going to date men again. So it was something personal. So people really like to know personal things about me, right? Paul tracks what I post on social media, and Paul, my significant other, and he says, he's number 3, by the way. Number one most popular post on my social media is JJ the kitty cat. Number 2 would be my son Kevin, who we've been following through high school and college. And the number 3 would be pictures of me and Paul. It's actually not my business tips. So if I were just putting out business tip, business tip, business tip, business tip, I would lose some people or I would not gain some people. So it's really interesting to track your results, okay? When you track, you'll be motivated to keep delivering, or maybe you'll stop. I had a client that was paying a fortune. I'm talking about like $2,500 a month to pay an agency to post for them on Twitter. 2 years. 2 years, they paid $2,500 a month for tweets. They also paid, in a way, they lost money because they had 2 people, 2 attorneys on their staff create the content to give to the agency. So when I sat down with them and we looked at their Twitter feed, 0 follows, 0 likes, 0 shares, 0 follows, 0 likes. I'm like, if you track this, you'll see this isn't bringing you any clients. You're losing money here. We could take that $2,500 a month and we could pay a marketing assistant to come in here for 20 hours a week to market for you. Make that money work a lot better. You wouldn't know that if you didn't track it, okay? So you'll keep delivering, Beth, or you stop delivering.
How do you suggest tracking the blogs?
Yeah, your website will do that for you. It'll show you how many people have clicked, or Google Analytics. You want to set up Google Analytics before you put out your first blog. Okay. And step number 6, repeat. 99% of people will not do this. Repeat. So you do a newsletter every month in 2021. In 2022, you can either do a newsletter every month, or you can do 2, or you can change that newsletter into a video tutorial, a press release. You can use that content over and over and over again. So step number 6 is repeat. And as you get to doing this, you get to skip the creative part. The creative part is what takes you so much time. So if your business isn't booked to full capacity right now, you have some time. But when you get booked to full capacity, when you have, this many clients, right, then you have less time to market. So then that makes it easy. I don't want you to have the kind of business where you market, you get a bunch of clients, but then you stop marketing. You have no clients, then it's I don't want you to have that kind of a business, right? I want you to have the business where you do a lot of creative right now, you get your systems created, and then as you get busy, you can automate those systems, and then you'll be able to afford help to delegate it to, right? So the second year, it gets easier, I promise you. So here's the recap. Decide what you're gonna do, schedule your time, batch your work. I have batch your content there, but I'm gonna say batch your work. Commit to your delivery, make that decision. My first blog post will happen on, right? So what happens if January 20th comes up, Ashley, and it's not done? Well, move it to the 25th or move it to February 20th. Don't beat yourself up. Don't give it up. Just get back to work, okay? Commit to delivery, track your results, and repeat. Now it is time to look over what it is you've been doing with your time. Let go of the time wasters and get focused on what really matters, which if you're here today, it's growing your business and increasing your income, right? So here are I'm turning on my phone here because I want to see how much time we have left. Being on full screen, I can't see my clock. Our upcoming workshops, January 28th, make your brand statement. I hope you can join us. And then overcoming imposter syndrome. That's February 25th. That will be the first time I've ever given that workshop. I'm really excited for that content. Also, I do have something new coming. So when people work with me, I have something called the Shift program that I do, the Shift coaching program. It's a 6-session program. It's very intense. It's very fast. And for years, people have been asking me to do something a little bit slower, a little bit less intense, a little bit more affordable. So I have created, thank you, COVID, because I've had the time, because I can't leave my house. I have the time to create the Success Circle for women, the Shift Success Circle, which will be the exact same content that I give in Shift. But instead of over 6 close-up sessions, it'll be spread over a year, and it'll be a group program. Also, I'm pretty full in my business, so I think I have maybe I can take one more client in February and one in March, and then I'm full to capacity. So by offering this as a group, I can work with more people. So if you're interested in the Shift program, either one-on-one or as the group, Liz is going to put something in the chat that'll be a link that you can book something to talk to me on. This stuff is not on my website. Frankly, why would it be on my website? People would just copy it anyway, right? So this information is not on my website. It will be in my email newsletter. I'll put in an announcement that way. But if you're interested in either one of those, please do that. I'm going to stop sharing. Please, Liz will put it in the chat how you can talk to me. I'll also put it in the email with the recording. And actually, I'm going to share my screen again because I want to show you something. Some of you have talked about doing things like speaking and writing an email newsletter. I want to show you something on my website. Now, you are all going to be now on my newsletter lists on Fridays, which is Focus Friday, so you'll get my announcements. But if you go to the homepage, my homepage, I have a really good tip for you. You'll see that next month's masterclass will appear here later today. But if you go down here, this is brand new on my website, instant access to 20 of my most popular workshops for women. When you sign up for the newsletter, you get a link to this, but you already get that newsletter. You can click right here. It says, get the workshop recordings here. And there's one workshop I would recommend for all of you that want to do an email newsletter. Let me find it. It is how to grow your lists. And that is the one. Let's see if we can find out where it is. It might be in the systems page. So, because I'm sharing on Zoom, it's taking this is a lot of video on this page. Strategies for positioning, business systems. I know, Sydney, you told me you just watched that, business systems. Here it is. It's like the fourth one down. It's called list building. And this is what it looks like. So if you really want to do an email newsletter, or if you want to do events of your own, the list building workshop is one that you want to do. So you go to my homepage, go down on the left and click the button on the left that says get instant access. Okay. Awesome. Hey, you guys, I did that in less than an hour, even with some chit chat. So I'm going to, if you would like to unmute yourself, if you have any ideas or questions, or if you want me to talk to you about getting speaking engagements, I am here now to answer your questions and do any one-on-one coaching that you might want. So tell me what they are. Let me check the chat and see if anything has come up in there.
Hey, Beth, it's Kristen McKegg.
Hello, Kristen.
I am curious about maybe partnering with other people to do, how do you find people to partner with to maybe do a webinar or something like that? And how would you promote that?
Yeah, I highly recommend that. Liz, you want to go ahead and stop the recording? Thank you for reminding me. Liz just sent me a little